sperms enter into the lumen, and
Into the
those basically these tubules carry the sperms up into the reproductive tract. If you if we get back to the previous chapter of if I show you from the previous chapter, yes, basically what happens that in this diagram, they when they go out of these seminiferous tubules. Let me show you. These are the seminiferous tubules, the coiled one, and
okay.
basically this is epididymis. But the seminiferous tubules are, you can say, they are joined with the epididymis.
Join with the
You
epidermis.
you can say it like that. They over there are millions of seminiferous tubules, and all the sperms they enter and they pass through the whole epididymis and then enter into the body and then outside. So it's basically it follows this phenomena and ultimately reaches at the end of it. And then I told you about the ovary. The ovary basically has all the 400,000 eggs that a female is supposed to produce, and
Yes.
then it gets mature, and ultimately all the eggs when mature they start releasing different hormones. First of all, the pituitary releases FSH. It it basically starts maturing the follicle. When the follicle matures, it releases the estrogen. Then the follicle releases the egg, and the release of the egg is supported by the luteinizing hormone. And then the after releasing the egg, it becomes the corpus luteum.
Yes.
The corpus luteum keeps on producing the progesterone until the egg is fertilized. No, until if the fertilization does not occur, then the corpus luteum degenerates and progesterone finishes. But if the fertilization occurs, the embryo produces the human chorionic gonadotropin. The
Okay.
embryo produces human chorionic gonadotropin that would be supporting the corpus luteum to produce the progesterone.
Yes.
Otherwise, it would not be produced. It would never be produced. Human chorionic gonadotropin is one of the basic identification of the early pregnancy, like after 10 to 12 days, because when the human chorionic gonadotropin is released, it is released in blood and it can pass through the urine. So
Pass.
so a urine test would be done by a pregnancy strip, and it would be showing a positive result. So HCG is basically there to support the corpus luteum to keep on releasing the progesterone. So it was another way. And then ultimately we said that like then there is preventing polyspermy. That for that purpose I told you about that I told you about the cortical reaction. If I remind you a bit of the structure of the sperm, let's get back to the structure. If you see over here, there is acrosome, a
Acrosome.
thing called as acrosome. This acrosome basically contains some hydrolases. You can say the enzymes for hydrolysis. It contains the hydrolases, and these hydrolases actually dissolve the zona pellucida. Zona
So
pellucida, it it dissolves it, and then once it dissolves it, then obviously uh, can detect chemicals, and then after that once the egg is reached, a number of events take place. These events are designed to result in union of a single sperm. The events are to prevent multiple sperm entering, known as polyspermy. The acrosome reaction. The zona pellucida surrounds is a coat of glycoproteins. Basically, the zona pellucida is released by the follicle eggs. You can say that follicle eggs surround the egg. I'm sorry, the follicle cells surround the egg, and when the follicle cells surround the egg, it basically is for protection.
for protection.
Excuse me. And then those follicle cells release a jelly-like material called as zona pellucida, and that zona pellucida basically protects the egg from multiple sperms. Once a sperm reaches this zona pellucida, it releases these enzymes hydrolases. It it you can say it immediately dissolves the zona pellucida. It dissolves it, and once it dissolves it, it the sperm is successfully achieved the exposure of the receptors, sperm receptors. Over here on this surface, the sperms have receptors. Now you can see over here that this is zona pellucida, green one. This sperm has dissolved it, and once it has dissolved it, now the sperm can deliver its nucleus into like it's the only purpose of the sperm.
Yes.
Just go there and release the sperm. The sperm release the nucleus. It does not have any target of entering or penetrating through the outer wall of the outer wall. It just wants. It just needs to release
It's a nucleus.
uh, their nucleus into the egg. So then comes the cortical reaction. What is cortical reaction? Cortical reaction is um vesicles located near the egg membrane. There are thousands of these vesicles, and when activation of the egg has taken place, activation means the nucleus has been released. Their contents are released from the egg by exocytosis. The cortical vesicles enzymes result in digestion of binding proteins. Binding for what? For sperms.
For sperm.
By binding proteins so that no further sperm can bind. The enzymes can also result in general hardening of the zona pellucida. Once it's been hardened, no entry of any other sperm.
Okay.
Internal and external fertilization is very simple mechanism. It's basically explanation of the organisms who have developed a copulatory organ and those who have not developed such thing.
Such.
There are many animals who have developed the copulatory organ. Those are like reptiles, birds, and mammals. But before that, and these reptiles, birds, and mammals, they load their sperm into the female reproductive system. But before, like according to evolution, the groups earlier than the reptiles, those are amphibians and fish. Those groups can do not have any copulatory organ and they cannot load the sperms into the female, so they release these sperms into the water, from
Yes.
where the sperm follow the egg and reach there and fertilize it. So that is basically internal and external fertilization. The birds, the reptiles, the mammals all have copulatory organs. They perform the internal fertilization. Terrestrial animals are most of them who have the who have that phenomena of fertilizing the egg within the reproductive system of female. Those
Okay.
who are aquatic or those who depend on aquatic system, in both of them, both the males and females have to release their egg into the water.
Into the water.
Then they would be fertilizing. Now this is something really important: implantation of blastocyst. It basically is purely related to a very interesting topic which you have not read, obviously, the neurobiology. No, not neurobiology. It's basically the what was it? I guess, yeah, over here it's related to the human development. Where is that chapter? Nutrition, digestion, the heart, hormones and metabolism, transport. Where was it? Metabolism. It was somewhere over here in the chapter neurobiology and behavior, biotechnology and informatics, ecology and conservation. I don't remember where did it go. Anyways, so the human developmental biology. Developmental biology means that the how the embryo is made, and after that how it behaves.
How
So
to.
let me tell you that when an embryo is made, like obviously that first of all, the very first cell of your life is made by the fusion of the male gamete and the female gamete, and that cell is called as the zygote. The very important thing about the zygote is that it has become diploid, but it's unicellular. It's unicellular, meaning that it consists of only one cell.
Yes.
It would be named a bit different when it starts performing mitosis. it would be named different. So you can say that the very after very first mitosis, this same zygote would be appearing like this under the microscope. Oops. Okay, it would be appearing like okay, stopped writing. What just happened? Wait a minute. Once it gets it starts multiplying, then it would be the very first cell would be looking like this.
Looking like this.
These
Okay.
would be the two cells that are supposed to be there, and then after that, uh, it, there's another division, and the four cells would be apparent, and then obviously those four would divide, and eight cells would be created, and so on. So initially, all these stages have different names. Like this is two cell stage, this is four cell stage, then the eight cell stage, then the 16 cell stage. All these stages are called as morula stage.
Monument
Morula.
stage.
But reality is that all these stages, in one way or another, are the stages of embryo. What does it mean? That right after the very first mitotic division of zygote, the structure would be called as the embryo.
Yes.
So it's now the embryo. It means that, let's say this is a 16 cell stage, and many cells are there: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16. These are 16 cells total. And I told you about the stem cells, I guess.
Yes, stem cells, they have
Did I,
undifferentiated properties. They can divide into.
did we discuss about the potential, the pluripotent, the totipotent,
Yes, sir. We
and the
discussed that the
multipotent?
embryo, it's
Uh,
I think it's pluripotent. They can make any type of cell possible.
Pluripotent, they are totipotent.
Totipotent, sorry, totipotent.
Yeah, yeah. Pluripotent would be right after the 16 cell stage, the cells would become pluripotent. Before and at the 16 cell stage, they would be totipotent, but
Totipotent.
after that, it would be pluripotent. Anyways, so after that, after this, there would be further changes. The embryo would change a bit further. And what further changes would occur? That if you look at the embryo, the cells would arrange over the surface of the embryo. Obviously, you are looking under the microscope. This is very extremely microscopic level. But if you section this embryo, if you create a section, if you dissect it, you will see that this particular embryo has like the appearance of that looks like a tennis ball. Like
Okay,
from inside, the embryo is hollow.
hello.
Embryo is hollow. It's just like a tennis ball. If you cut a tennis ball, it's hollow from inside. But
Yes,
over the surface, the cells have covered uh, that hollow portion. Now, in this stage, this embryo is called as the blastula.
that's true.
It's called as the blastula, and this hollow region is called as blastocyst.
Cyst.
Blastocyst. So basically, this all these names that are provided by that have been given by the scientists, the embryo goes through all these stages even before getting implanted into the uterus.
Okay,
Like the uterus have been developed
developed.
during the menstrual cycle. The progesterone and estrogen have muscularized and vascularized the embryo. I'm sorry, they have muscularized and vascularized the uterus. All the wall is prepared, but till 10th or 12th days, there is no, you can say, implantation of the embryo. The embryo is constantly moving. You can suppose, I can show you a video, but you can suppose that this particular structure is present because do you know that where the fertilization occurs?
The fertilization, it occurs in the it's I you mean the area, right? Uh,
Yeah,
that I don't know the area, sir, but
wait up. Let me tell you. This is the this is the ovary. The egg is released from here. Now the egg would wait over here for 2 days. Basically, there are 2 days that are really, really critical. Almost, if the egg is released as 14th day, then the egg would wait here till the 16th day.
till the
And this
60.
is the site of fertilization. This is the site of fertilization. You can say it is proximal end of the oviduct,
Of the oviduct.
site of fertilization. Yeah, it is the proximal end of the oviduct, and basically, this proximal end over here, the egg would wait, and sperms are supposed to reach here. If they reach here, they would fertilize it, and now the embryo would start moving along the way. And almost after 10 days, the embryo would be implanted either here or maybe here or maybe here.
Yes, in the wall of the
In
uterus or somewhere along there.
in the yeah, endometrium, which is called as endometrium.
Endometrium. Yes.
So the embryo is about 48 hours old. Further cell divisions occur, but some of the divisions are unequal, and there is also migration of cells, giving the embryo shape of a hollow ball. This is called as blastocyst. At
Blastocyst.
7 days old, at 7 days old, the blastocyst consists of about 125 cells, and it has reached the uterus. 7 days,
7 days.
having been moved down the oviduct by the cilia of yeah. Now this oviduct, see, egg is non-motile. Non-motile means it cannot shift its location.
Okay.
It cannot shift its location, but it is being pushed.
Pushed.
It is pushed by the cilia present on the inner wall of the oviduct.
The oviduct.
Like all those cilia, they push the embryo towards the uterus. That is why they are mentioning. That is why they are mentioning that cilia of cells in the oviduct wall, and then it
Yes.
is pushed. At this stage, the zona pellucida breaks down. The blastocyst has used up the reserve of the egg and needs an external supply. Now, due to that external supply, the blastocyst is going to fuse with the. This is uterine wall, the internal one. This basically is the uterine wall. You can mark it like that. This one. This is uterine wall, and now the blastula would fuse in it, and it would start initiate the formation of the placenta.
Of the placenta.
Once it's fused with the uterus, called as implantation. This process is called as
Implantation.
implantation. Now, the placenta is made, but I would like to show you a few videos, by the way. They're very fascinating, and they would literally show you how they are made.
Okay.
Inner life of cell animation or filtration. From fertilization to childbirth. One video is this. Mm, 9 months in the womb. This may be another one. Okay, hang on. Uh, Human embryo development. I guess it is also Let's start watching them one by one. I'll make it very quick
Yes, sir.
because we should not be watching it too much. I will speed it up. Okay, first of all, from fertilization to childbirth.
During ejaculation, nearly 300 million sperms move from the testes through the tubes called the vas deferens into the area of the prostate. At this point, the prostate contracts, closing off the opening between the bladder and the urethra, releasing fluid into the urethra and pushing semen on through. Seminal is liquefied by enzymes swim through the layer. The angular isthmic barrier becomes thinner and changes its acidity.
Just
The
look at
seminal
this.
plasma is left in the vagina. Also
For
contains
once,
sugars to nourish the sperm.
it's just like once it is released. Once it is released, you can say
It also
that
contains sugars to nourish the sperm.
there are many barriers
The seminal
against.
plasma is left in the vagina.
Yes, that prevent many
Sperm use
sperm
their
from
tails to
passing.
swim through the layers
Hmm.
of cervical mucus that guard the entrance to the uterus. During ovulation, this barrier becomes thinner and changes its acidity, creating a friendlier environment for the sperm. On the other side, after releasing the egg, at about day 14 of the period, the egg arrives at a specific portion of the tube called the angular isthmic
Now this
junction.
basically is
It
the
lasts for
oviduct.
another 30 hours.
Now
Fertilization
these are the cilia.
occurs in this portion of the
These
tube.
all hair-like projections are
Once
the
the sperm has
cilia.
entered the uterus,
Cilia.
contractions propel the sperm upward into the fallopian tubes. To meet the waiting egg, sperm must travel from the vagina to the fallopian tubes, a tough journey that few sperm survive. This process may be nature's way of allowing only the healthiest sperm to fertilize the egg to provide the best chances of having a healthy baby.
And there, these cilia don't only help the egg to be pushed forward, but also they trap many
The first
sperms
sperm enter the tubes a few minutes after ejaculation. But, however, the first sperm are not large enough to
to
fertilize the egg.
reach the egg.
Normal sperm can survive
Reach the
completely
egg.
In
reproductive
that
state
way,
for
you
up to
can
5
say
years.
that the sperm with like most healthier sperm would be reaching
The
the
magic happens in the fallopian
egg.
tubes. The fallopian
Yes.
tube pushes the egg towards the uterus. Cilia push the sperm towards the egg. Also, the surrounding cells of the egg produce a chemical that attracts sperm.
Yeah, that is point I missed. I was about to tell that, but I missed. That basically, whether it is internal fertilization or external fertilization, the egg basically release the chemicals.
Yes.
Chemicals would be received by the sperms continuously, and they would be following the path of from where the chemical is coming. So that is why they reach the egg. Otherwise, they don't know where to go.
They don't know where to go. Okay.
This is
The sperm enters burrow through the cells of the
the
carotid.
follicle cells.
Then,
These are.
upon contact with
This
the
is
Yes.
zona
cellulose, the
pellucida.
sperm bind to the receptors in the zona pellucida. Then, the enzyme-filled cap of the sperm, called the acrosome, releases its stored digestive enzymes. Finally, the sperm must fuse with the egg plasma membrane. This now an egg
Now is whole procedure of
it
meiosis
is the
and then
earliest
fusion.
developmental
This
stage.
is
It
zygote
divides
now.
rapidly in the days following fertilization.
Two cell
The
stage.
zygote then travels down the fallopian tube
Yes.
to the uterus.
Continuously dividing. Four cells has been made.
After fertilization, the zygote continues to divide and morph into a blastocyst ball of 16 cells, approximately 5 to 6 days after fertilization. It is smaller than the tip of a ballpoint pen. Only 20% to 30% of fertilized eggs will reach the blastocyst stage. Embryos that survive this stage of development have a high implantation potential once transferred into the uterine cavity. The blastocyst hatches out of its shell and burrow into the uterine wall, endometrium, which serves as the source of oxygen and nutrients. About 4 weeks from the beginning of the last period, near the next period, the blastocyst.
Now they have not shown the formation of the placenta, but they just shown the implantation. I
Yes.
just want you to know about the placenta.
Yes. It's the
Only two
oxygen supply.
cells are
The how the placenta is made, and then we'll be moving ahead.
Okay.
needed to create a baby. Two cells and a miracle. In just 9 months, this pair of cells blossoms into billions of cells. Gently nestled and protected in a mother's womb, a tiny human thrives. Together, mother
No,
and
this
baby
is
share
not
this
the
journey of
video. This is not the one. Let me try opening another one. The third one. If it is not the one, then I'll find it by myself.
Okay.
Because I saved many videos, but I guess it's not. This is a cell division, and this is the blastocyst entering into the. This is a uterine wall implantation. Now this, just look at this. These cells are constantly multiplying. They are trying to be in contact with the uterine cells, and they would now spread, contacting maximum with the uterine wall, and creating and they would start to create new muscles as well as the new blood vessels.
Okay.
Oh, for God's sake. This is basically the that developmental biology, but they have not shown that. That was a good video, but I guess I have lost that. Hang on a minute, let me show you. Let me see one more data of mine. Hurry up, hurry up. No, it's not. Center formation. Let's try watching this one.
During pregnancy, a new structure called the placenta grows to deliver oxygen and remove waste from the fetus's bloodstream. The placenta begins as a shell of cells around the embryo called trophoblasts. This attaches
Yeah, just look at it. This is totally the center formation.
to the lining of the mother's uterus
Okay.
called the decidua. The trophoblasts become several different types of cells as they grow and divide. Some trophoblasts become structures inside the placenta called villi. As they grow throughout the pregnancy, the villi branch into the shape of a tree.
Now let me show you what is the villi. What is the villi? Just look at this. In on this picture, you see there's an outline to all of these. There's an outline to all of these, like this.
Yes.
All of these capillaries of the baby. These outlines, not the capillaries, but the pinkish outline is the villi.
The villi.
These are the villi. So these villi would be created inside, and then these are the villi, and inside all of them, there would be the
Inside the villi,
capillaries.
blood vessels develop that will connect to the baby's umbilical cord.
Okay.
At the base of some of the villi, another type of trophoblast helps hold the placenta in place. Normally, these cells move into the decidua. Chemical signals from the lining of the uterus tell the cells how far to travel. Some travel a short distance into the muscle of the uterus, which is called the myometrium. These cells also take control of the arteries that will carry oxygen and nutrients to the placenta. They make
This is like this was it, and then let's consult another one only for the for once.
Newly formed cells move protein, allowing the rest. Vessels and glands, endometrium. The proliferates newly formed cells.
I still haven't found that particular video, but just leave it. All right,
Okay.
so that is the how the placenta would be made, and the formation of the placenta would be a remarkable project because if the placenta is a bit weak or it's not good in its health or strength, there is no chance that the embryo would survive.
The
Not a
embryo
single,
survive.
not a 1% chance. So that is a critical stage, and then uh, once it has been made, then there are the materials that would be constantly exchanged. Okay, can you name the material that would be exchanged through the placenta?
The materials that be exchanged through the placenta. It would be oxygen and carbon dioxide and water and any type of like food. The nutrients would be given out towards the baby, and it would travel through the placenta to the umbilical cord.
Okay, okay, and like other than oxygen, can you name or other products?
The other products, it would be, sir, it would be any types of fluid or any types of like food that the mother digests. It would travel to the placenta and it would be given to the baby.
Let's say the glucose, amino acids, and
Yes,
then glucose, amino acids, then waste would be provided back to the mother, like carbon dioxide from the baby and the urea from the baby. The hormones from the baby and from the mother would also be transported. Even the antibodies that would be made by the baby and that would be made by the mother would be transporting through the placenta, and then there would be there would be you can say the important electrolytes, the sodium,
Electro.
potassium. Even the virus, even the
Oh,
viruses can cross this barrier. You can read this word over here, that the cells that separate maternal and fetal blood from placental barriers, this must be selectively permeable.
selective.
Because if it's not, then it would be really dangerous. Because like the bacteria, there is a rare chance that bacteria can cross the placenta, but still there is a chance. And the important thing we need to know about the placenta is that virus can easily cross it. Like if the mother is suffering from HIV, or maybe the hepatitis or some other disease, then that virus can easily penetrate into the baby, and that would be critical because virus attacks on the liver.
The liver.
And during the development, if hepatitis becomes severe by any reason, then it would be direly affecting the baby and causing the cirrhosis, maybe, or maybe underdevelopment of the liver. So that would be extremely dangerous.
Okay.
There is another very important thing over here, that two very interesting things. Number one, the maternal blood, like you can see maternal venule and maternal arteriole. The maternal blood, it gets out of the vessels. This is the only area. There are only two organs in which in the human, in which the, or maybe three, in which the blood comes out of the vessels. One is heart, second is spleen, because in the spleen the red blood cells are destroyed.
Okay.
The red blood cells, after 120 days, they are supposed to be destroyed. So that is the spleen. And the third organ in which the blood gets out of the blood vessels, that is the placenta. What
Placenta.
happens that in the placenta the blood is coming over from here, and this blood would come out of the vessel, and this is basically the maternal blood pools. Over here, all the maternal blood has been pooled, where the oxygen is present, the glucose is present, amino acids are present, hormones are present, proteins are present, antibodies are present. Everything is supposed to be entering into the blood of the baby, fetal blood. And this fetal blood would be taking all the products into the back to the baby's umbilical arteries. Now, what is umbilical artery?
Okay, so the umbilical artery, it would be the baby's, you could say the blood cord, or where the artery is, because we know that the artery, it flows as its function is the flowing of blood. So it would also have like a little tube in this case.
Umbilical basically is that particular, uh, you can say, extension of the placenta. Um, okay, let me show you. I guess you are not familiar with it. Umbilical cord. Okay, this particular canal, this particular duct, this is umbilical cord. This
Yes,
particular is the umbilical cord, and this umbilical cord is like connecting the baby with the mother. But the function of this, like if the mother's blood pressure is somehow dangerous, the baby is a bit away from the mother's blood, from direct contact of the mother's blood.
of the
You
blood.
can say that baby is like it's this much away.
Yes,
It's the length of the umbilical cord away from from the mother's blood. It is not directly in contact with the mother's blood. So if there is any problem with the mother's blood pressure or flow, the baby is away from that. The baby is
yes.
away from that. So then everything would be entered. And the strange thing about this is that, like, you can say that the blood that is returning towards the heart is oxygenated, and mostly the blood that leaves from the heart is basically the deoxygenated in the baby.
In the
That is
baby.
quite strange. That is quite strange. It's almost the opposite, that the blood that leaves from the aorta of the baby, that is that does not contain that much oxygen as compared to the to adult human being. Why? Because the lungs are not uh, the lungs are not adding the oxygen into the baby's blood. It's the placenta,
It's the
and
placenta.
placenta is quite away from the heart. If you look at it, it's
Yes,
quite away from the heart, and there is the reason the heart mostly get the amount of blood that is not that much oxygenated, that is
okay.
not that much oxygenated as compared to the blood in the adult human being. Like when the heart gets the blood from the lungs, it's freshly oxygenated.
Yes,
It's freshly oxygenated if we talk about our bodies. But in the babies, when the blood is coming back from the placenta, it has lost much of its oxygen because of the organs on the way back to the heart.
on the way back to the heart.
So, anyways, then these are different different particular phenomena happening. The transport phenomena, diffusion is occurring, facilitated diffusion is occurring, endocytosis is occurring, osmosis is occurring. Everything is over here.
Okay.
Coming to the release of the hormone by placenta. See, the hormones that are released by the placenta, the most important one is the progesterone. The
Yes.
progesterone is the hormone that does not only support the placenta, the existence of the existence of the placenta, the existence of placenta is because of the progesterone. If
Yes.
somehow the progesterone is not there, or maybe it's been cut off, it's been cut out, then the then it would be like, you can say, um what should we go, it would the immediate abortion.
Yes.
It would be immediate abortion, and the contraceptive pills contain the abortion mostly.
Okay.
The contraceptive pills contain the progesterone mostly that cause the abortion.
Yes.
Mostly what happens that when the females go for the abortion, they have that particular day, they give them, that depends on the days, of the conception. Conception mean conceiving the baby. So if it is like 2, 3, 4, or 10 days, maybe they would give them simple pills, and those pills would immediately remove the placental existence, and then the progesterone. How would it remove the placental existence? That the progesterone would be blocked. The
Reblocked.
progesterone would be blocked. Right after the blockage of the progesterone, the endometrium would fall, the uterine line would fall. So this is one way. One kind of contraceptive pills are those pills which would prevent the meeting of the egg and sperm,
Okay.
or which would prevent the formation of the placenta.
Formation of
Like
placenta.
what happens that they give the progesterone, to the mother before the start of the menstrual cycle.
Yes.
That is a progesterone blocker. The progesterone blocker would cause the would immediately block the ovulation, and would not let the uterine wall develop.
Or not.
So immediately once the progesterone is blocked, no menstrual cycle is going to happen. But
Yes.
once, if the baby has been conceived, then the progesterone blocker would cause the placenta to get diminished, removed, and it would fall.
It would
So
fall.
that is another way. But if the fetus has been created, if the fetus means that it's been quite a while since the pregnancy, then it gets really difficult, and the female has to go through the D and C.
Yeah.
D and C. That is basically, I always forget about the abbreviation. Let me show you. Dilation and curettage. That is
Oh,
basically dilation and curettage, and you can say there are videos about them. We don't need to see that. Anyways, so progesterone is the main hormone that would be released by the
release.
placenta,
Yes.
and progesterone is responsible for the weight gain of the mother, and then the rest of the procedure of developing the milk inside the mother and the development of the glands through which the milk is released.
Okay.
You can see over here there is a danger of miscarriage at this stage of pregnancy if this switch over fails. That is really important. Previously, who was releasing the progesterone? That was corpus luteum.
Corpus
Then it
luteum.
is switched to the placenta. If there is a gap between that, that is really, really critical at that stage.
Okay.
The role of hormones in parturition, what is that? That basically is, you can say, the parturition. What is parturition? It's the release of the baby.
The release of the baby, the birth process,
Yeah, you can say one process in which the blood is released, that would be called as menstruation.
menstruation.
And when the baby is released, that would be parturition. The parturition is the process in which some hormones work together. That would be like, let's say, let me show you. It would be, they would be working like this. Uh, Once this is the baby, suppose, and the baby releases some hormones, although it's not mentioned in your book, but I'll tell you, these hormones are called as corticosteroids, and these
Corticosteroid.
corticosteroids, um, they basically block the progesterone.
Okay.
They block the progesterone, and the, you know, previously progesterone blocks the oxytocin. It blocks the oxytocin that is normally released in our bodies. Oxytocin is a very normal hormone that is released, but uh, previously, when the progesterone's amount was higher, it blocked the oxytocin. Now,
Yes.
once the progesterone is blocked, the oxytocin would be released. It would
Release.
be free. It would be free. Now it would move towards the uterus, and it would cause contraction in outer wall.
In the outer wall.
Cause contraction in the outer uterine wall.
Outer uterine wall.
And this outer uterine wall basically is called as the myometrium. The previously inside wall was called as endometrium. Now it's called as myometrium. Once it's contracted, the very next stage is that it opens. There is a mucus plug over here. The entry of the uterus is called as cervix. As far as I suppose you know that where the cervix is present. Do you?
You said where the cervix is. Yes, sir.
Cervix is, yes.
The cervix. It's basically when the baby is being or the baby's coming out. The cervix it stretches out, and this sends the nerve impulses to the brain. And then I think so when it's
The important part, the important part is that cervix is always there. It's the door of the uterus.
yes,
It's the door of the uterus, and it's always there. The only difference is that the cervix has been blocked by a mucus plug.
mucus plug.
The cervix is blocked by the mucus plug, and that mucus plug, due to the contraction, the mucus plug is released. You can say this was the mucus plug. It has been released, and the phenomena occurs where we say that water bag is burst.
Water bag
Water
burst.
bag is the water around the baby, and then the baby starts coming out. There is a continuous wave contraction. You can say there's a continuous contraction of the uterus wall, and the baby is pushed out.
Okay,
After a bit of time, the placenta is also removed. Like you can say that the just like the what should we say, just like the menstruation, the placenta is also removed.
the what? Okay, the
You can see
placenta.
over here, this is the placenta, and they are saying placenta becoming detached from the uterus wall, and it would be released as the baby is released.
as the baby is released.
So that's about the parturition. Got
Okay.
that?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay, memos refer gestation times, mass and growth and developmental strategies. Different growth altricial species give birth to relatively helpless, incompletely developing offsprings. Their newly born young are relatively immobile, like ours, lack hair, and able to obtain food on their own. Uh, there are some other end of the spectrum are
Precaution.
precocial mammals, in which they are altricial, and these are precocial, have open eyes, are immediately or somewhat able to defend themselves, like the elephant's baby, and you can see the baby of the mice.
Yes.
So they are the longer that basically depends upon the gestation period.
Gestation.
Gestation period is the total time the baby the baby is held by the mother. You can
Okay.
say pregnancy time is the as same as the gestation time. So the longer the gestation period, the healthier and better would be the baby. And the elephant has 22 months, 22 months of the gestation.
Yes. So
And
it
the
must be.
elephant mother produces a very healthy baby who can defend himself, and that would be the due to gestation period, but not in human.
Okay.
All right. Questions, and that's all. So, any confusion, any problem?
Uh, it was a bit complicated, sir, but it's clear so far with the importance of the placenta, the HCG, and the importance of how the embryo develops. That's been clear so far, but I'll have to again go over it after lesson. But so far,
Yeah.
it's
Hmm. Okay. So, placenta, everything. All right. Anything improved? Anything you did not know already?
I did not know that the placenta that how why it was like so vital. I didn't know that it transports amino acids, oxygen, and I didn't know that it was what's it called released after the baby's birth. I thought it was like a an organ that always stays, but it just develops further.
Okay. One thing we completely forgot, and that is this chapter. I just remember that we haven't discussed this much. This one. This is from the 11th chapter.
The kidney.
I basically the kidney, because we said that once we are talking about the from SL, we were talking about the human physiology, and I said that since we are talking about already about the human reproduction,
Yes.
so we should be continuing the reproduction, and then we'll get back to this chapter. So first of all, okay, now you tell me, what do you know about this chapter?
Okay, I know that the chapter it talks about the excretory systems, and it is the excretory is the remove or excretion is the removal of the body waste and products of metabolic activity, and then they discuss how different organisms how they take out remove this nitrogenous waste. So the most in the case of aquatic organisms I know that they eliminate or they take away their removal waste through ammonia, whereas mammals we take away our waste through urea, and it's also
Mm,
that urea it's a lot less toxic and has a higher concentration compared to, for example, reptiles, where reptiles they secrete or they eliminate their waste through uric acid, and
mm,
the removal of the uric acid I think so it's non-toxic and it also takes it's not a lot of water it can flush quite easily whereas the aquatic organism, the ammonia, it is quite highly toxic, and it's flushed by animals in the aquatic habitats.
Mm.
It talks about it. I think so. It's some tubal, Malpighian,
Malphigian tubule.
Malpighian tubal. Okay,
Mm.
Malphigian tubal. And Malphigian tubal, they are found in insects, and they have a circulating fluid, and that fluid, it was called hemo, hemolymph, I think so it was.
Yes,
Uh,
Hemolymph.
Hemolymph, and it's found in and hemolymph is also found in the blood system in the mammals, but the Malphigian tubules, that's what activates
No,
the.
no, no. Hemolymph is not found in mammals. Hemolymph is only in the arthropods. It's the hemoglobin is found in the mammals.
In the mammals. Okay. And in the Malpighian tubes, it's where the nitrogenous waste and water from the hemolymph passes through these Malpighian tubes, and it goes through the gut of the insect with the digested food. So the digested food as well as the waste goes through this tubule. So they have in the case of insects, they only have one tube that carries out the removal of the waste. Then
Mm.
the chapter talks about, I think so, it is labeling and structures of the kidney, but they also talk about, I think so, it is there's a specific part of the kidney. I think it's the nephron area of the kidney where they talk about, I think so, it is the vein. There's a specific vein in the kidney known as the, I think it's the renal vein,
Mhm.
renal artery,
Mhm.
and there is less water. I know there's less glucose, oxygen. There's more, I think so, CO2 in this renal vein compared to the veins in the rest of our body, and the blood enters the kidney through this renal artery, and
Mhm.
it leaves the blood leaves for our kidney through this. The renal vein.
Mhm.
Then I have the chapter, I think, that talks about it's ultra filtration, and
Mhm.
ultra filtration, it has, I think so, it's a three step process. So the first step is that the blood is filtered, or the blood is found in the basement membrane, and
Mhm.
it travels through this basement membrane, and then it involves blood being forced at a high pressure
Mhm.
against the membrane that allows the filtration, and it
Mhm.
passes through. I think it's this. There's a specific capsule and tube that it passes through.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I don't remember the names of the tube and
Mhm.
the capsule, but it's a
Bowman,
special
Bowman's capsule,
Bowman's capsule.
and that glomerulus Bowman's capsule, and the renal tubules. Where we say the tubule is like the proximal convoluted tubule, the loop of Henle, and the distal convoluted tubule.
The distal product tube. Okay. Then lastly, I think so. This apart from the kidney disease, I think it talks about the importance of the water. Water. So it talks about the dehydration and the difference between dehydration and overhydration. So they talk about that dehydration. Obviously, it's the loss of water,
Mm.
whereas overhydration, it results in an overconsumption. In dehydration, it's first, but in overhydration, it's a lot of urine being released. And in
Mm.
dehydration, we have the, what is it called? I think so. It's the osmosis occurs during dehydration, where we have uh, where we have a lot of like body fluid that causes swelling, and that can cause tissue damage due to the over consumption of water, and then it travels through. Uh, I think so it was a hypotonic to a
Mm.
hypertonic water balance. I think it is, and
Mm.
in the case of dehydration, the individual experiences very low body temperatures, and the blood pressure will drop. And dehydration, it can cause a brain damage, and in very fatal cases, it can cause death. but overhydration it causes I think it has something to do. It can also cause death, but it can affect your vision. I've heard in some way.
Hmm.
And then uh, lastly, sir, I think it talks about the kidney diseases, but
Hmm.
I'm not really clear about the kidney diseases. I was wondering if we could go over them. I think so. It talks about like the transplant on what you do if your kidney is not working.
Hmm. Okay. Now, the thing is that you have described it quite clearly, especially of the Malpighian tubules. But in every topic, a few things are still left behind, like how the podocytes work, and how they actually act to filter the things. Role of
Okay.
proximal convoluted tubules, how they absorb then what's the nephron basically, loop of Henle. This particular gradient you did not explain. This particular gradient needs a bit of explanation because this gradient matter a lot in explanation of the how the kidney maintains the water pressure, or you can say the osmolarity of the water.
Just
The
related to the water.
osmolarity of the water. Then function of ADH you did not explain. And then about that treatment options for kidney failure. Uh, okay. Although this after all the which you just explained, this does not require a lot of explanation. But the point that you just described about the urea, uric acid, ammonia, and the release and the relation with the water amount, that was quite good. Now, what happens basically that you can I can tell you over here is it's basically the how the uric acid works. Suppose uh, this is a particular organism, and this is its whole digestive system. First of all, remember that when we talk about the arthropods, or like there are other organisms like it. You know about the arthropods, right?
Yes, insects and bugs.
Uh, yeah, cockroaches, or maybe the grasshoppers, or whatever you want to think about. What basically happens that there is a unique thing about them, and that is their digestive system. Their digestive system is linked to excretory system.
Linked to excretory system.
Linked to excretory. Now, what does it mean? Just think about the human. Do we have do we have our excretory system linked with the digestive system?
Uh, and I mean, they're not directly linked, but so I would
Yeah,
say
that's the question. That's the answer. That's
no,
the answer.
they're not
Complete.
directly linked.
Yes. See, direct linkage was the actual question. Like obviously, everything is connected by the blood.
Yeah,
That is obvious. Like they would be absorbed by the digestive system. They would be assembled in the liver, and in the end, they would be filtered by the kidney. No doubt. That's quite like proper concept. But once they are not directly linked, that's all. The answer is complete. Now they have a very unique system. These cockroaches, etc. That their digestive system, first of all, you must know that let's suppose I'll not draw the complete body, but let's say this is the body of a cockroach, or maybe the grasshopper. This is the body, and through this body you have a thin duct going on, and that thin duct is called as the digestive system. And through no, not through, but with this particular thin duct, there are some thread like tubules that are attached. If you magnify these tubules, they would appear like a lining of cells. They would appear like a lining of cells,
lining of cells.
which means that the things can get through them and enter. This part is the lumen. This part is the lumen,
Human.
and the things can get through it into the lumen, and all the material would be entering into the into this duct of the digestive system, meaning that their digestive system and excretory system are directly connected. Now, what happens basically, their body, another very important point is their body is having open circulatory system. Now, what does
Open,
that mean?
open circulatory. Uh, that means that blood would be flowing through one vein in this case, right, sir, or one common vein?
Not exactly. Basically, the blood would be moving through the body and directly bathes the cells, meaning it would be out of the vessels, directly flowing through the body.
Directly flowing through the body. Okay,
It's not bound by the vessels.
it's not
It's
bound.
not bound by the vessels. Yeah, it's not it's openly moving into the body, directly contacting the cells of the body. That would be called as an open circulatory system.
Okay,
And their blood is not the blood, they would be that would be called as the hemolymph.
yeah.
Now, this is the movement of the hemolymph. Hemolymph is passing through the whole body, and obviously from this side as well. And that hemolymph would be filtered by these tubules. All the materials would be entering into the Malpighian tubules, and the solid uric acid would be released out.
Re-released.
That would be released out, meaning that they basically have a strategy to remove their fecal material as well as excretory waste through the same opening due to the attachment of the excretory system and digestive system.
And digestive system.
Now just look at this over here. That is basically what they are telling you. This is where the blood is coming from from here. Not the blood, sorry, food is coming, and over here the hemolymph is present. Over here it's passing over, let's say it's directly bathing the Malpighian tubules, and it's getting filtered, and everything from here is getting into this gut, and then uric acid, and then it would be removed out. So that is how it works.
Okay.
Now, talking about the human, comparing the composition of blood in the renal artery and renal vein, that is something quite earlier, talking quite earlier. I do not like it. Anyways, let me tell you another thing. Let's create another board sheet. And see, the materials that pass through the Malpighian tubules into them, they follow the same. They follow the same way. They follow the same way that our like our materials follow while passing through the cells. What's the method? Active transport,
Yes.
diffusion, osmosis, endocytosis, whatever is possible, they would follow the same procedures.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
Now, let's talk about the kidney. See, the very first thing that they are talking about, kidney is basically the bean-shaped organ, and no matter how hard I try, I never able to draw this, the curves equal ever. So let's leave it. Anyways, so these are the basic two arteries that are entering and exit, through which the blood is taking the entry and exit. Now, it's quite earlier to compare these two, the composition of these two arteries, but since they have done it, so we are doing it. Once the blood is entered, the blood is going to pass through the whole kidney, which has a very, excuse me, which has a very um, efficient, extremely efficient system of filtration of blood. You can
Okay.
say that your kidney is able to uh, filter the amount of blood that is equal to 1600 liters, meaning your blood is not 1600 liters, but you can say that the blood passes through the kidney within 24 hours so many times that it it equalizes the 1600 liters of the blood.
of the blood.
So that is like quite a lot of amount,
Yes.
and then it releases. Now the thing that they are telling us that is that the glucose and then the water, the uric acid, and some other things enter, and the things that get out of it are glucose, a lot of amount of water, sodium. You get the sodium back, you get the amino acids back, but you don't get the uric acid back mostly. Why?
Most.
Because it has been filtered and it would be given or provided back to the body because the body needs it.
Okay.
The body basically needs it, and obviously oxygen.
Yes.
So then, toxins and other substances you can see over here. Toxins are that are ingested and absorbed but are not fully metabolized by the body. For example, betaine pigments in beets and also drugs. That is like substances that are present in higher amounts in the renal artery than in. Now they basically are telling us that the substances. See, okay, let me make a clear concept for the excretion for you. What do we know about the excretory system?
The excretory system. Uh, I know that you mean like how waste is removed from our body, basically.
Yeah,
Uh, Generally,
let's mention the names,
yes.
the names of the organs involved.
Okay. It would be the kidney is involved in this case. Um, I think so. It's also uh, what is it called? The small intestine is involved.
No, no,
No,
no, no, no. Kidney, ureter, urinary bladder, and then ultimately urethra.
urethra.
But these are also involved in the urinary system. Now, my question is, what's the difference between the excretory system and urinary system? Obviously, for that purpose, we would have to know what's an excretory material. Excretory material would be all that material that is a metabolic waste,
No
meaning
metabolic waste.
the waste produced by during the metabolism. And the most toxic waste that is produced during the metabolism is urea.
Urea.
But my question is, this system is creating and removing the urine.
Yes.
Then what is the difference between the urinary system and excretory system? Remember, in excretory system, the organ that is uh, forming the waste, the organ that is forming the waste would also be included,
Would also be included.
and that organ is liver. Urea is made in the
Liver.
liver. So it means the excretory system is different and urinary system is different. What's the difference? Only one organ.
The liver.
Excretory system would include the organ that is creating the waste and that is filtering the waste. The urinary system is only those organs which are filtering the blood, not creating the excretory material. So that is why. Now, what I'm telling you over here, did you get that?
Yes, sir. The liver is part of the excretory system, but it's not part of the urinary system in this case. There's
Well
two.
done. Now, liver has a duty of detoxifying the materials like the antibodies, then antibiotics, and then the painkillers, the drugs that people often take, then maybe some other spices, some other materials that are absorbed, and all those are counted as the excretory materials because they have been detoxified. So these all would be moving into the through the renal artery into the kidney, and then they would not be present in the renal vein then, because all of them have been filtered.
Yes.
So that is what they are telling you about, that these toxins and the other substances, basically they are coming from the liver. The liver have detoxified them, and this detoxified materials are supposed to enter into the kidney, to never come back. Betaine. Now the betaine, if you eat beetroot a bit too much, not like very much, like a bit too much, then your urine would become red,
Yes.
and people often get scared, like maybe the blood is coming out. No, it's basically the betaine. That betaine was detoxified, but the color was not removed, so it enters into the kidney and becomes a part of the urine, so it colors red.
Colors red.
Excretory waste products, including nitrogenous waste products, mainly urea. Then excess water can also be there, and then excess salt absorbed from the food in the gut. So all of these can be there. uh, Uh, these are not excretory products because they are not produced by body cells. Removal of excess water and salt is part of osmoregulation. Now, this is a very important point. Did we discuss about the homeostasis?
Homeostasis. Yes, we discussed that in chapter 6.6, sir.
Mm-hmm. And did I
We
tell you about the osmoregulation? I don't think so.
we talked about the hormones, the leptin, thyroxine, melatonin, insulin, and
Mm.
glucagon. But I don't, osmoregulation. I don't think so. We discussed, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right. The homeostasis has a phenomena called as osmoregulation,
Osmoregulation.
and it also has a phenomena of thermoregulation. Now, osmoregulation is the thermoregulation is the regulation or maintenance of temperature,
Temperature. Okay.
but the osmoregulation is the maintenance of solute
Solute.
with reference to solvent. Or you can say that maintenance of solute and solvent with respect to each other.
With respect to each other.
What does it mean? If the solvent, now what's a solvent?
A solvent, in this case, it's any type of, you could say any type of liquid or any type of, uh, any type of thing that would dissolve in your body.
Hmm. In biology, the solvent is only water.
There's only water.
Like
Okay.
there is no question of any other solvent. So if it's the biology and you read a word solvent, it obviously means the water.
The water. Yes.
Now the question is, like, if the solvent increases a bit too much, your body would remove the solvent.
Would remove the solvent.
And if the solutes increase a bit too much, your body would maintain it, and it may would be removed. The solute may be removed from the body, or they would not be removed, but they would be kept away from the blood. I'll give you the example. But what's a solute first? Let's talk about this.
A solute, that is a substance that can be dissolved by a solvent, we usually say.
In biology, it's everything other than water.
Everything other than water. Okay.
So now it means you have a solute. You can say urea, you can say glucose. Urea acts as waste, but in reality, in body solution, it's a solute.
It's a solute.
Maybe it is a waste, but basically, if you talk about the body solution, it's a solute. Glucose, sodium, all these are solutes.
All
Your
these.
body would remove it. Your body would remove or keep it according to the conditions.
Okay.
If it's too much, your body would remove it. If it's less, your body would keep it.
Keep it.
If the glucose is too much in your body, then your body would remove it from the blood, not the body,
Not the
from
body.
the blood. Like there is no concept of removing the glucose through your urine. If it starts releasing through urine, it's the sign of what?
If it releases from the urine, then it is. We discussed that it was urea in this case. It's all glucose waste,
No, no.
or
The glucose is never removed through urine. If the urine starts releasing the glucose with it, it's a sign of diabetes.
some diabetes. Okay,
Yes. So basically, your body, if your blood has too much glucose, your body just remove it from the blood. It would either send it to liver. I'm sorry, no, not the liver. Yeah, liver for to create the glycogen. It would either send it to liver or it would send it to muscles.
to muscles.
Now, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to tell you? That osmoregulation basically involves maintenance of solutes and solvents. Some of the solutes are not even considered to be safe, to be conserved. They are meant to remove. They are meant to be removed. They are considered as wastes, and that is the urea. But others are not excretory material. They are just removed to maintain the body, and that is called as osmoregulation.
Osmoregulated.
So that is why they are saying that these are not excretory products. What? Excess water and excess salts. They
And
are
access.
not excretory material. They are just removed so that your body should maintain them.
Okay.
Uh, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay, I would like you to please revise it because we have to do it tomorrow as quickly as possible
Yes,
and
sir.
finish it. Finish it. Yeah, I talked with your father to increase the days of the class.
Yes,
So
sir.
what time do you have?
I have. I'm available on the weekends, sir. If that helps anything.
Mm-hmm.
Weekends is usually free.